At a blank page, you don't know how to get started, where to get started. You're struggling to get a new project off the ground. Here is a surprising trick which works every time. And the more I reflect on this, I realize this has played a big role in my life. It is called putting constraints on yourself. Embracing constraints is actually the unlock for productivity as well as creativity. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is sounding quite counterproductive, but hear me out. I'll share some examples and reflect on my life and tell you how this has actually helped me do a lot more and especially focus on some of the creative projects in my life. Here is a reflection on from my photography days in Bangalore. When we used to go out and take pictures, I had a very close friend, Deepak. We both used to work on photography together with a large group in Bangalore. You could have some of the best cameras, you could have the zoom lenses. Zoom lenses means when you get on the streets, you could actually take a portrait from a very far away place. You could take a very different type of a picture in the comfort of where you are. So there was always a constant zooming in, zooming out, or if you would to carry several lenses, your mind would always be too focused on, for this situation, should I use this lens? Now, again, this is not a pressure situation. I'm not covering a football match where I need to have 4 different lenses. This is more of the work I want to do, enjoy the photography, do some creative work. So the best way we would unlock this would be by putting constraints on ourselves. For example, I'm going to just shoot a prime lens today. So I will only shoot with a 50 mm. Now that automatically takes away so many photos what you could have taken using a zoom lens. Similarly, one of the days we would put a constraint saying, today we will only take photographs which are in the crop ratio of 1:1, which is square photos. That automatically puts a lot of pressure on you to frame the subjects correctly and think about how you're going to go and take the picture, which vantage point will work best, what type of light and situation would work best for that photo. So constraints always put that type of boundary, if you will, on us, but the result was always one, we would enjoy the photography walk immensely because now the pressure is taken off. You're not thinking about several lenses. Second, it'll make you think more and in a more creative manner. You're always thinking of what's the best composition with the constraints I have. And third, always the outcomes would be significantly better versus carrying 4 different lenses, different zoom focal lengths and things like that. So the outcome was always better, less pressure, more creative. That's the unlock for creativity in our life as well. And if you see all the constraints which we put on ourselves, when you use a word template, it's actually nothing but a structure which is in a way a constraint on yourself. It is telling you to follow those questions, those frameworks to fill out the information. Those constraints are very useful because they take the heavy lifting of staring at a blank page away from you and automatically helps you move faster, right? I use this timer cube. If you think about it, this also is sort of a constraint. If I'm sitting down and writing something or recording a video, I set up a timer for myself and say, this is that 1 hour where I'm going to be doing this work. So automatically there is that sense of urgency that if I don't do it now within this hour, I won't be able to do it today at least. I'll have to move it to the next day. So constraints are very, very useful if we use them properly. Another great example from our lives, and all of us use this, Twitter. Twitter started with that 160, very famous 160 character length constraint. When it started, a lot of people figured that this is going to be too short of a text to say anything on social media. But if you see, Twitter is one of those places which has sparked the most amount of creativity. Hackathons, we hear about this, and this again has become quite an important part of most large organizations, where to spark the imagination, the creativity, the problem solving of the technical teams, companies organize hackathons. They put time limits on solving these problems because the idea is not to find a perfect solution. The idea is to find solutions. And once they find some good solutions, then they have all the time in the world to go invest money and really do them at scale. So they're extremely useful because they're being done in a constrained fashion. The time is okay. The outcome, there's no pressure on how polished the outcome has to look like. And that's the reason they're so successful. I've been also learning guitar. My teacher told me the last time that there are four chords. Just using those four chords, majority of the songs on this planet have been composed, and that blew my mind. So, in essence, my core message is every time you are stuck with a creative project, every time you think that you are stuck, consider putting some sort of constraints on yourself. It could be in terms of the time, creating some sort of urgency around yourself, creating the constraint in terms of how big this work is going to be. If you're writing something, put a constraint that you only have 200 words to write this or a page to write this out. So put some constraint and let your creative juices flow. Bye.